position feels good to you, that's a great spot to start. So sitting nice and cross-legged, and just kind of starting to just kind of take inquiry just of kind of what's going on inside. Just taking a second to arrive, knowing that you made it here. I know I tell you guys a lot to just give yourselves credit for making it here, to sit with yourselves and to move in presence. And as we sit here, just kind of allowing the shoulders to kind of come away from the ears. And if it feels safe for you to shut your eyes down or just find a spot on the floor to kind of slowly just soften the gaze. And as we were just talking about the breath, just becoming aware of the very fact that you are breathing. Knowing that your breath has been with you all day long, whether you've been aware of it or not. Here it is. And just starting to lengthen the breath just a little bit. Just kind of bring a little bit more life to the spirit of the breath. Lengthening the inhale, lengthening the exhale. Inhale through the nose and bring length, buoyancy, fullness. Just concentrating on the feelings at the tip of the nose as you breathe in and you breathe out. Slowing the breath down a little bit. Gaining a little control of it. Feeling the breath at the tip of the nose. And then if you'd like, you can make a slight sound with the back of the throat, just kind of like almost like an ocean sound, by constricting the back of the throat a little bit with a slight constriction, and then inhaling, it'll slow the breath down and slowly out, kind of making an ocean sound to it. Feeling all the parts of your body that are in contact with the floor, your sit bones, your feet, feeling the ground rise up to meet you here. And then imagining that all the parts that are touching the floor are just growing nice, long, deep roots through the floor that you're sitting on, through the subfloor, all the way down into the earth, way down below whatever you're sitting on. Deeper and deeper through all the layers, all the beautiful colors. And just grounding down all the way down into the earth's core. And wrapping those roots down into there. Beautiful. One more big inhale. And exhale through the mouth. Beautiful. Slowly start to open your eyes and meet me in a tabletop position. So the shoulders are right over the hands and the hip creases are right over the knees. So we got a nice base here. We're really pushing away from the ground. So not allowing the shoulders to just kind of sink down, really pressing the shoulders away from the ground. And then we're going to roll our chin, our chest for cat pose. So we're kind of flexing the spine, flexing and tucking in the tailbone too. And then slowly opening up, broadening the collarbone, allowing the belly to be soft, and then wrapping the shoulder blades on the back, opening the chest. And then exhale, rounding the spine, chin to the chest, nose to navel, really squeezing the front body towards the back body. Taking a couple on your own breath, following the breath. So allow the breath to come first and then the movement. So allow it to be the one that it propels the movement. If at any time you find like you're losing your breath throughout the practice, back off a little bit, come out of the pose a bit, slow it down maybe a little bit. Great, now shift side to side. So right shoulder towards right hip. So we're just kind of doing a little side bend here, still in the tabletop position, and then side bend to the left hip to left shoulder. Couple of more of those. Great. Come back to tabletop position, really root through the fingers. Make sure to look down that the fingers are spread nice and wide. Pressing into the floor, curl your toes under if they're not already, and lift the knees, just hover the knees off the floor. Ooh, yeah, get some fire here. So really pressing away from the floor. So we're not just allowing the shoulders to hunch down, pressing away from the floor, engaging the navel, keep those knees floating for 3, 2, 1, set them down. Great, reset. We're going to go for a little bit longer next time. So keep it here and press into the ground, lift those knees up, fire in the belly. So bring that belly towards the spine. 5, 4, Silas, count faster. 3, 2, 1, and then press it back to downward facing dog. So press into your hands, send your hips back. Keep your knees nice and bent, especially if this is your first downward dog of the day. Keeping those finger pads spread wide. The fingers are spread wide. Relaxing the shoulders now away from the ears. Pedal out the feet. Take a big inhale and a big exhale out the mouth. Fire breath. Another one just like that. Inhale and exhale. Beautiful. Slowly walk the feet towards the hands. Small little intentional steps towards the hands. I'm going to meet you in a forward fold. Bend the knees a lot here. Allow the body to just drape over, down, relaxing the neck, letting the shoulders go, loosening the jaw, unfurrowing the brow. Find your breath again here. And just remembering that the goal of our practice is to get this energy or the chi or the prana flowing with the movements. That's the goal here. Inhale, we're going to slowly root through the feet, really, really rooting through the feet. Stand into those feet, keep the knees really bent and start standing up nice and slow, 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 letting your feet press into the floor as if it was what was rolling you all the way to a standing position. Take a minute here to roll your neck out. Take your neck in some different range of motions, small circles, big circles. Maybe rolling out the shoulders around in circles here. And then take a minute to meet at the top of the mat. So if you're not already at the top of the mat, come to the top of the mat. We're going to meet in a standing position. Take a minute to be yourself, scratch your face, fix your clothes, whatever you need to do. We're going to start at the top of the mat here. Nice standing tall. We're going to meet with our hands at heart center together, Anjali Mudra. This is the start of the flow. And we're going to inhale, reaching way up. Exhale, forward fold, nice and slow where we just were, nice and slow. Bend those knees as much as you'd like, relaxing the shoulders. And then inhale, a halfway lift. So plant your hands either on the ground in front of you or on your shins. And then really find length here. Take a minute to kind of play with the shape here. So really pressing out, the feet are strong, legs are straight as feels good for you. And then straight out through the hips, there's a long line of energy through the crown of the head, as if somebody was taking a string and pulling it, almost like you're making a figure 7 here. And then set it free a little bit. Add some movement into it. Maybe bend the knees, side bend a little bit. Don't be afraid to make this your own practice, like I said. And then exhale, forward fold again. And then root through those feet again. Inhale all the way up. Brings you all the way up, up, up. Swooping the arms up overhead. And then exhale, bringing the hands together. Anjali Mudra at the heart here. Taking a second to reconnect with the breath here. So nice big inhale. And then exhale with a sound all the way out. Empty everything out with the empty, so much so that your inhale is almost buoyant. And inhale at the end of your exhale. And exhale. I'm going to do 2 more rounds of that. So inhale all the way up. Exhale. Emptying, empty. All the way out until it feels like it's effortless for you to take your inhale. And inhale. Exhale, sigh. Last one. Inhale. Exhale with a everything out, getting quieter. And then that inhale just comes naturally. Exhale, open mouth. Beautiful. Inhale, reach up and overhead. And exhale brings you to that forward fold. Inhale, we're going to halfway lift. So hands out in front of you, long back here. Exhale, bend the knees a lot and step that right foot way back. So a big giant step with the right foot. Right knee comes down to the floor. So we're coming down for a low lunge here. You can curl those toes under or not, up to you, the back toes. Take a second to get centered here, really squeezing the energy between that right back leg and the left front foot. There's almost a scissoring action that's going to cause a lift here. Inhale, come light on the fingertips. So prop the fingertips up, find length, just like we did with that halfway lift one. And then exhale, softly bend the spine. So you're just kind of giving into the pose here with the exhale. Great. And then inhale, coming back up. Exhale, you're going to shift the hips backwards, peeling that left foot off the floor for half splits. Left hip crease is working its way towards the back of the room. So there's kind of a squaring of the hips here. And then the hands are either directly under the shoulders, if that feels like a good amount for you, or if you want a little bit more, reaching the hands out to frame the left foot, up to you, whatever feels good for you. Finding that length in the spine. So really light on the fingertips, that back body's active. And then exhale, rounding the spine, giving into the pose. Inhale, coming up. And then exhale, rolling forward onto those left toes, shifting the weight back forward to the low lunge here. Curling those right toes under if they're not already. Hands to the floor, step the left foot back to meet that right foot for a plank pose. Meeting in plank pose here. Great, take a second to get comfortable here. Press the floor away. Shore up that belly. Great, and then we're gonna exhale, bring it back to downward facing dog. Nice inhale. Exhale through the mouth. Walk the feet up to meet the hands, nice and slow, really rolling out those feet, allowing the calves to stretch. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold again. And this time, left foot steps back. So left foot, left knee drops down onto the ground. Taking a second to really set this up. The left hip pointers are working towards the front of the room. Inhale, finding the length in the spine. So coming light on the fingertips again. So length all the way through the tailbone, through the crown of the head. Exhale, rounding the spine, chin to chest, nose to navel. Inhale, coming out of it, and then exhale, rolling the right foot up and letting the right hip crease come back for that half split again. Take a second here. And that knee, if that right knee needs to be bent, no problem. Like that is totally fine to have the right knee bent. The goal is to have it as straight as possible, but it's up to you. Hands can be either right directly below the shoulders, or like I said, reaching out, really finding that length in the spine through the crown of the head, and then exhale, giving over to the pose. Inhale, rolling forward onto that right foot, framing the right foot with the hands, pressing the left leg lifts up, right leg steps back to meet the left. Plank pose here. And then lower the knees, and we're going to go knees, chest, and chin, keeping so now we're on a low plank here with modified plank. Elbows are going to stay nice and tucked in towards the side, then the chest, and then the chin. So there's a little back bend. If you can look up at me, there's almost like a little back bend, and then the legs straighten out. Look down, hands should be right below the shoulders here. Press into those tops of those feet, roll back for a nice low cobra pose. Shoulder blades are rolling back onto the back. Collarbone is wide. Exhale, forehead to the mat. And go for 2 more of those. Inhale, pressing those tops of the legs are still active, and then just rolling up just that upper chest. Neck is still looking down, and then exhale, come back down. Last one on your own time. Great. And then press back up to all fours position. Keep the toes curled under, meet back at downward facing dog. Pedal the feet out. One big breath here. Look up between your hands, walk, skip, or hop your feet up to meet your hands here. Inhale, a halfway lift position again, nice long line. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale brings you all the way back up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, right back into it. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, brings you down. Hinging at the hips. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step that right foot back to meet back again. Set that hip down. So we're going for that same session, but we're going to do it with just each breath. So set that right knee down, low lunge. Inhale, find that length. Exhale, round the spine. Inhale, find the length. Exhale, press back to half splits. Inhale, find the length. Exhale, rounding the spine. And then inhale, rolling onto those left toes, really pressing into the right leg. Right leg lifts up now for a high lunge position. Inhale, finding that length through the spine. Exhale, there's a tiny round. It's harder to get the rounding there with that knee there. Great. Frame that left foot with the hands. Step the left foot back to meet the right. Plank pose, strong pose. So we're building some heat here. I can feel it. I don't know if you guys can. Shore that belly up. And then this time you're going to bring your right edge of the knife edge of your right foot to the middle of the mat. And you're just going to roll onto that right hip. So it's kind of this weird corkscrew thing, like you're allowing the right hip to dip down to the mat, and then you're picking it back up to come to center, back to plank. and then rolling over onto the left knife edge of the left foot, allowing the hips to come all the way down to the ground, back to center, and then to the right side, and back to center, to the left. So there's kind of this like corkscrewing of the body going on, and then back to center, to the right. Ooh, back to center. Great. Press it back to downward facing dog. Beautiful. Step, hop, or skip your hands up to meet, or your feet up to meet your hands. An inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, sending that left foot back. Left knee comes down for low lunge position. There's a nice inhale, the length of the spine. Exhale, curling the spine, nose to chin, or chin to navel. Inhale, find the length. Exhale, pressing the hips back. Right hip crease comes back, right toes peel off the mat. Inhale, finding that length there. Exhale, curling the spine. Really engaging the navel here. And then inhale, rolling forward, stepping those right feet to meet the left, plank pose, and then come all the way down for chaturanga, upward facing dog. Take your flow, or stay with me with knees, the chest and the chin like we just did, chest and chin, and low cobra. Low cobra, we roll back a little bit, we shift back forward, tuck those toes, press up to downward facing dog, or tabletop to downward facing dog, and we're all meeting in a downward dog facing position here. Look up between your hands, hop, skip, or jump your hands up to meet, or your feet up to meet your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Length and spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra, taking a minute to check in with your heart, with your breath, with the intention, noticing if you're breathing differently than you were at the beginning of class, knowing that we're stirring things up. And just being an observer of where we're at right now. No judgment, just noticing what's coming up. Great. With an inhale, reach the arms overhead as if you had a big beach ball in your hands overhead. Beach ball overhead, keeping mindful that you're not splaying out with those lower ribs, right? So the low ribs are tucking into the belly, arms up above head, and then lateral side bend to the right. So as if you were taking that beach ball over to the right, sending the hips out to the left. Inhale, back to center. Exhale to the right, and then sending the hips out the opposite way. Staying rooted through those feet, coming up to the center again. Exhale to the side. Inhale to center. Exhale to side. Beautiful. Bring the hands back to heart center. One breath here to get ready to go back into our flow. Remember to just really move with intention. It's not about how fast or far you go, it's the journey there, okay? So take your time. Inhale, arms overhead, swooping arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Comes down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, step back to plank. And then hold that plank for a second. And then we're going to get ready to do those hip dips again. So right knife edge of the foot, right hip lowers down. Remembering to kind of keep stock of our whole body here. So move with intention. Be gentle with your shoulders here. You can bend the elbows a little bit if that feels good for you. Picking back up to center. back to plank. This is kind of working on those lateral core muscles here. Winging it out. A couple more. Back to center. Exhale, bend the knees a lot. Press back to downward facing dog. Meet here. Nice inhale. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale again. Exhale through the mouth. With an inhale, reach the right feet up, 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 as if they had long balloon. Right leg stays straight. Three-legged dog here. And then shift forward on the left toes. Bring the right knee up to the chest, kind of rounding as if we were in that cat pose, like we've been working on the flexion and the extension of the spine. Then pressing back with the fingertips, sending that right foot high again for another three-legged dog. And then curling that knee into the chest as if you're a little cat. We were just talking about cats at the beginning of this. How funny. And then inhale, lifting that leg back up high, high. Exhale, really sucking that knee way up, 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 and then setting the right foot down, allowing the left knee to come down to the ground for that low lunge position again. This time rising all the way up with an inhale. Swooping the arms up overhead. Exhale, framing the foot. Inhale, finding the length. Exhale, pressing back to half splits. Inhale, find that length there. Exhale, round that spine. Inhale, coming forward again for low lunge, pressing up to a high lunge position. And this time, we're gonna pivot our, I'm gonna get to a position you can see. This time we're gonna pivot our back foot. So you're just pivoting on those toes. And if you look down, we're setting up for warrior two for those of you that know. And if you look down at your feet, you wanna see the back arch in line with the front heel. And then standing it up to warrior two position. So keeping that front knee really bent. And if you need to bring your stance in a little closer, take care of yourself and making sure to look over so you got a nice base here. You should be able to see on the inside of that front foot, you should be able to see, or inside of that front knee, you should be able to see your big toes, your two biggest toes. So because there's a tendency for that knee to kind of want to sickle in. So really kind of pulling that knee to the lateral side of you. And then pressing into both feet, really pressing into the ground. Arms raise up. This is our warrior two position. And then right arm's gonna reach up and over. And we're gonna go for kind of a reverse warrior here. Inhale. Exhale back to that warrior two. The knees stay the same, so that front knee just stays bent. And then inhale, reach way over with that right arm. You're reaching as if you could reach out over that right knee. Right elbow comes down to right knee. Left arm comes up and over for a side angle pose. Long line of energy from that left foot all the way to those left fingertips, shooting out. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, reverse warrior. Take this on your own flow. We're going to do a couple here. So you're coming, inhale to center, reaching out, exhale. Beautiful. Yeah, let your breath lead you here. One last one. Exhale, back to center. Now find the center. On an exhale, you're going to windmill your arms down, pivot that back foot for a low lunge position again, for a high lunge position, and then step your feet back to meet each other. Plank pose again. Take your flow here, either knees, chest, or chin, chaturanga, upward facing dog. So knees, chest, and chin, keeping those elbows nice and close all the way to the belly, curling the shoulder blades back, lifting up. Exhale, pressing back to tabletop position or downward facing dog. That's where we're meeting again. Great. Lifting the left leg. We got this, you guys. Lifting that left leg high, 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 as if it had little balloons on it. Exhale, curling that spine as if you were a little cat. Maybe even make a sound because it's fun. Pressing back, really pressing into those hands as you press back for that three-legged dog. Don't rush things. Go with the breath. Slow the breath down a little bit. Be mindful with every movement, even through our transitions. And then exhale, rounding. This is our time that we hold, we hover, get onto those toes of those back toes to really suck that knee up, and then let that left foot come up between the hands. Sometimes you just got to grab the foot and put it up there. No worries. Depends on where you're at today. And then let that right knee come down. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, frame that foot. Inhale, find the length. Exhale, press back for the Ardha Hanuman, half splits. Inhale, prop yourself up and find that length through the spine. Exhale, round. Inhale, shift forward. And then we're going to shift that same thing that we just did. So you're going to shift on the toes of the back foot, shift, and look down before you get up. Make sure that that left knee is bent, left ankle is in line with the right arch of the foot. Stand strong. Front knee bent. Look down, make sure you can see those toes. And then take a second to kind of inner mirror yourself. There's a tendency to kind of want to jet forward here. See if you can be directly right above, like so right above your pelvis here. So that's really where that should be. And then really pressing into that outer leg on the back leg is really pressing into that outer foot. That'll give you a little bit of lift here. Inhale, coming back for the left arm swoops up. Exhale, back to center. Inhale, reaches out. So left arm really reaches out over that left leg. And then left arm comes to the left leg, right arm comes over. Take a look at your heart. Is your heart facing down towards the ground, or can you unwind it a little bit and get that heart facing up towards the ceiling a little bit? Inhale, coming back to center, and now take your own flow with this. Move with your breath. Maybe even close your eyes and feel what it feels like to just move without me telling you exactly how to move. Great, and then windmill the arm down, shift, pivot on that back right toes, and left toes come to me, or left foot comes to meet the right, plank pose here. Take your flow here. If you'd like to try the chaturanga upward facing dog, you can. It's just taking the plank. You're going to keep your elbows really close to you. You're going to shift forward on the balls of your feet here. And then you'll lower down, keeping the shoulders go no lower than the elbows. And then uncurl your toes, press your feet into the ground, lift up, extend your arms. If that feels good to your back. If not, then just go back to what we were doing before. Be here for 2 breaths. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pedal it out. Take a big deep breath. And then lower the knees, nice and slow. Lower the knees, nice and slow. Great. Sit back, uncurl your toes, sit back on your feet. Take a minute to reconnect with your breath. I'm sweating. I don't know if anybody else is. Woohoo. Get a little movement going tonight. And then just curl down into Balasana, child's pose. Allow the just kind of curling up into a little seed, allowing the forehead to come to the earth. Just breathing here. And take the biggest breath that you've taken all day long right here. One more for fun. Great. Come up onto the knees. We're still on the knees. Lean forward and curl your toes back under. We're still going to be on the knees here. And then we're going to stand on our, or like be on our knees. We're going to be kneeling on the ground. Toes are curled under, right behind you, directly behind you. And we're going to reach our body. So there's a couple different ways you can do this. You can either, if it feels accessible for you to reach the back of your heels here, go for it, because we're opening up for camel pose. If that feels like it's too much, just place your hands on the low of your back here, with your hands, your fingers spreading wide and placing down towards the floor, and then squeeze the elbows together here. And then press the hips forward. So you're opening the chest up, and then maybe you even take the gaze up and behind you on the ceiling here. So it's up to you how you're taking this pose, and you're just holding this for 3 full breaths. Opening the shoulders, allowing the shoulders to come away from the ear, wrapping the shoulders back onto the back body. Great. And then slowly coming out of it. If you were in camel pose, slowly coming out of it, rounding back down for child's pose one more time. Letting everything go. And then coming to a seated position. We're going to meet for a seated position here. However, that feels good to get there. So, and then feet are going to be placed out in front of us with the knees bent. So it's going to kind of, when you're sitting here, there's already some core engagement. So I just want to point that out. So you don't have to, you can take these however you want to. You don't have to take it really deep. It's up to you. So feet are out in front of you. Navel is engaged here. And then you're going to take your hands and place them behind you, about a foot or so behind you, with the fingers pointing towards your bum. Okay, and what this is going to do is open up that chest again. So we're going for a chest opener again, and then press into your hands here to give your chest a little lift here. So you should be feeling this. I feel this in the wrists, and I also feel this broad across the shoulders too, or across the collarbone here. Open the heart. Stay open, even in times of trouble and adversity. How can we stay open? How can we stay soft? How can we still stay compassionate to ourselves first, especially? And then bend the elbows a lot. Give a little break, and then press into it again one more time. So straightening the arms, really wrapping the shoulder blades back onto the body. And then exhale, come shift forward. Keep your feet just where they are. If you'd like, you can place your hands right next to your body. It's up to you if you need the support. So there's a couple different ways we can do this boat. The boat can go a couple different ways. So either if this feels like I'm feeling good, I'm getting a core workout just like we're sitting right now, perfect, keep it like that. If you feel like maybe you want to put your hands next to you, and maybe you just want to hover your feet off the ground a little bit, right? Great, that's awesome. Maybe you want to lift your feet up a little bit higher, which requires rocking back a little bit. Maybe you clasp behind your legs here, and then play with, what does that feel like to let go of my legs? Maybe you can let go of your legs, straighten your arms and straighten your legs. Not for me, not yet. Someday, maybe you straighten your legs and your arms. You got this, you guys. Bring that fire, you got it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then give yourself a big hug around those knees. Wrap around the knees. Oh, that feels so good. Extend the left leg out, keep that right leg bent. Wrap that left elbow around the right knee. And then we're going for a twist to the right. So twisting, left leg stays strong, out on the floor, right arms reach behind you like a little kickstand propped up. And then we're looking over that right shoulder. So many things to do at once. That's kind of the fun of it too, right? You know, it's about coming into these poses and being curious every time about what it feels like. You know, there's always little things to be fine tuning. And then exhale, coming back to center, switching legs. Right leg goes long, left leg stays bent. Right elbow hooks around that left knee, left, and then we're twisting to the left. Keep those shoulders out of your ears. A lot of times we want to like squeeze because I want to get further, and then our shoulder blades are creeping, or shoulders are creeping up into our ears. So relax the shoulders, relax the jaw, and see if you can keep the pressure out of the low back too, and try to get more of that twist like we talked about last week out of the core and trying to open that thoracic spine a little bit more. Inhale back to center, both legs outstretched. Shake those legs out for a second. Woo. Give yourself a little bit of a massage. Maybe take the fists and give some pounding onto the quads here. This is a really good way to just kind of get some blood flowing down the legs. Give yourself some love here. Great. And then sitting nice and tall. Maybe it feels better to have a blanket under your bum. If it feels hard for you to sit in this position, put a little blanket under your bum. That'll help tilt your hips a little bit. Before we go for a forward fold, we're going to find the length. So find the length all the way through, from the sitting bones all the way through the crown of the head. And then walk your hands forward. And we're going just as far as it feels pretty good for you. You can bend your knees as much as you need to as well here. And then exhale, forward fold into it. Inhale, straighten out again. So that halfway lift kind of thing, broad through the collarbones. Exhale, rounding the spine, chin towards chest. 2 more. Inhale, straighten out. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale. Exhale. Great. And then slowly make your way to your back, but try to roll yourself down if you can. So nice and controlled. Ooh, each vertebra. Woo! I'll meet you guys on the back. Oh my goodness, doesn't it feel good to be here? Look at that. We made it, you guys. So feet are flat on the ground and the knees are bent. Hands are by your side, palms facing down. If that feels good to you, chuck those shoulder blades under you if they're not already. And then stand into those feet nice and slow. We're coming up for a bridge pose. So standing into those toes, squeezing the knees together, start really putting energy and focus into the feet. If you really step into the feet, the hips will just naturally go up. So instead of thrusting the hips up, see if you can step those feet, and then the hips will come rise up. Take those hips up as high, high, high as you can go. Squeeze those glutes together. Ooh, yeah, girl. And then exhale, slowly come down, roll down, just like we just rolled down from our back to each vertebrae, or each vertebra, sorry, to get the whole vertebrae. Beautiful. Take the legs long. Bend that left knee and bring the arms out, facing out, and roll over to the left for a nice, easy twist. If there's another twist that you enjoy better, go right ahead. Feel free. Rooting through that left palm on the earth. So really trying to keep that left shoulder down. And then bring it back to center. We're going for the other side. Shift the hips over to the right. Send that left leg long, right knee bent, and just roll that whole thing over. Right shoulders trying to stay rooted to the ground if possible. Like I said, it doesn't matter what these shapes look like. you know? It's really not so much about that. It's only part of it. Great, and then rolling onto your back, finding a comfortable spot for you to have your Savasana. This is the final pose. This is the resting pose. So maybe you need to get a blanket or prop your knees up. Make yourself comfortable. Take care of yourself. You're worth that. We'll be here for a couple minutes here. And just connecting once again to the breath, noticing if it feels maybe easier after this practice to breathe. Maybe there's more spaciousness in your body, some tingling sensations I feel in my feet, maybe some warmth. And then just letting go of any breathing that we were doing, any kind of structured breathing that we were doing. Just letting it all go, just resting. Nowhere to go, nothing to be right now. Heavy body, heavy bones. I'll wake you up in just a minute. Enjoy the peacefulness, enjoy this time. Bring your awareness to the bottoms of your feet. Noticing any feelings in the whole foot and the ankle. Becoming aware of your lower leg and your calves, the muscles that wrap around the front of the leg. Our legs that do so much for us that we don't even realize so much that they do. The strength in them, moving up to one of the strongest parts of the body, the quads. Becoming aware of the quads and the kneecaps and how the quads connect the hips all the way down to the kneecaps. Coming up into the pelvis region. Just noticing what's there without judgment if possible. Relaxing the navel, the belly becomes soft. And the low back relaxes to the floor. Imagine the space that the ribs take up and how they wrap from the sternum all the way around to the spine. And inside the lungs that breathe, the diaphragm inside there. Coming up to our shoulders. Just relaxing what we can or noticing any tension in there. And if there's any more that we can just let go of. The throat comes open, relaxing the tongue to the back of the throat, allowing the tongue to just roll to the back of the mouth. Noticing how your skull is held on the floor, making contact with the floor. Heavy, held, solid, encasing so much of our brain. Our face, allowing the face to just relax. Jaw becomes unhinged and soft. Smooth the brow. And then bringing it down into the arms, all the way down, arms. Down into the forearms and the wrists. Just becoming aware what's there for you. All the way out each finger. Our beautiful hands, all that they do for us, giving thanks. And then slowly rolling yourself to your side into a fetal position, whatever way feels best. Stay inward here, move slow, no rush to get anywhere. And on your side, just taking a minute to just reconnect with that breath, with the spirit of you, for what it is that brought you here tonight, for what got you on your mat. And just honoring yourself for taking the time for yourself. And knowing that by this practice, it ripples out. You know, the real practice begins when we step out of this room, when we step off this mat, when you shut this computer down. And hopefully the spaciousness and the peace that you feel here will ripple out into your life, into your interactions, into the interactions that we have with ourselves and with others. Putting a hand in front of you and pressing yourself up to a seated position. Nice and slow, staying inward. I'll meet you sitting forward, legs crossed if that feels comfortable for you. Bringing the hands to heart center one last time, Anjali Mudra. Thank you so much for participating in this class with me. Thank you for co-creating this with me, truly. If you guys didn't show up, I wouldn't have a job to be doing this, so I appreciate it. Thank you. And I want to pay just a special homage right now to just the trans youth like in America right now, and just all of their little hearts and their minds, and just sending out extra love to them right now. And I bow that. Namaste. Thank you so much. I so appreciate you all for showing up. Thank you for practicing with me. If anybody has any